I would like to welcome you to the first ever Lotus Car Rally at BBC Television Centre. Bring in the cars.
Tonight, we present to you a collection of Lotus cars, new and old, starting with some of our previous four-seater cars. The Lotus Elan Plus 2. Colin Chapman would always say that he designed cars that he wanted to drive, and that these designs evolved with him. The Elan Plus 2 launched in 1967 and was one such car, a more family-oriented version of the iconic Elan with an extra pair of seats in the rear. A fantastic car to drive, a perfect combination of lightweight, agile sports car with the practicality for more luggage space and those extra 2 seats. The Lotus Eclat, taking the wedge design themes from the Lotus Esprit concept. The Lotus Eclat was a 2+2 with a fastback body, designed by Oliver Winterbottom and launched in 1975. Powered by Lotus's 4-cylinder 907, this engine was the world's first production all-aluminium 16-valve 4-cylinder engine, giving performance and efficiency, wrapped in a pioneering and technically advanced composite body. The Lotus XL. The XL was a development of the Eclat, but lighter and more aerodynamic. It was introduced in 1982 and remained in production for 10 years. The Lotus XL was a personal favorite of Hazel Chapman, the co-founder of Lotus, who owned a number of these 2+2 sports cars. The Lotus Elite, unveiled in 1974. The Lotus Elite was the first of the wedge generation of cars from Lotus and a true 4-seater. It marked a departure from the Lotus designs of the 1960s, introducing a more sophisticated, more stylish and luxurious direction for Lotus. Technologically advanced with a new vari-process composite body, the Elite also won the International Don Safety Award. A huge accomplishment for such a sports car. Our next cars are all great examples of the clever use of aerodynamics that Lotus has become famed for. The Lotus 11. The Lotus 11 was the first higher production car for Lotus, with 270 cars built between 1956 and 1959. A successful race car, due in part to its lightweight and aerodynamic bodywork, the Lotus 11 achieved hundreds of race wins, including multiple Le Mans class victories. This actual Lotus 11 is still owned today by the Chapman family as part of the classic Team Lotus collection. The Lotus Type 72, undoubtedly the most successful F1 design of all time, went on to win 3 F1 World Constructors' Championships and won no less than 20 races between 1970 and 1975. Every aspect of the Lotus 72 was designed to be as aerodynamic as possible, both in terms of reduced frontal area and downforce. Driven to victory by the Lotus greats, Jochen Rindt, Emerson Fittipaldi, Ronnie Peterson, and most memorably, clad in the iconic JPS livery, the Lotus 72's influence on F1 is legendary. The Lotus Esprit, the archetypal supercar from the 1970s to the early 2000s. The Lotus Esprit was unveiled as a concept 50 years ago. Designed by the great Giorgetto Giugiaro and later evolved by Peter Stevens, The Lotus Esprit received global recognition, driven by James Bond in The Spy Who Loved Me and For Your Eyes Only, Julia Roberts and Richard Gere in Pretty Woman, and Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. All starring roles putting the Esprit on the global map via Hollywood. The Lotus Evija. The Evija is not just the world's first all-electric British hypercar, it's also the most powerful car ever to enter production. With a top speed of more than 200 miles per hour, over 2,000 horsepower, and full charging capability in under 10 minutes, the Evija also has unmatched airflow and unbelievable downforce. And finally, our newest car, the Lotus Emira. The most accomplished Lotus road car ever to come out of the Hethel factory gates. We launched the Emira last summer, and the response has been phenomenal. The car is a true Lotus, light, nimble, mid-engined, exotic-looking, competitively priced, and provides outstanding aerodynamics with exceptional downforce. And there's so much more to come. Meanwhile, on the road, Lotus deliver their next four-seater car, the Elite. And the worlds of fashion and movies flock around the brand and our two-seater sports cars. In 1982, Colin Chapman launched his last Lotus car, the four-seater Lotus XL. He left us later that same year. But his legacy lives on. On the track, Ayrton Senna wins the first of his 41 Grand Prix in the Lotus Type 97T. While on the road, the Lotus Elan and Lotus Esprit Turbo SC were launched. A car which filmmakers flock to include in Hollywood blockbusters. In 1995, the Type 111 is unveiled at the Frankfurt Motor Show. It's named after Chairman Romano Artioli's granddaughter and remained in production until 2021. Lotus has continued to pioneer as Aero Kings with the development of our first all-electric hypercar, the Evija. We believe in engineering.
Well, I will see your one Eletre in the studio and raise you two Eletres out here in the cold with Russell Carr. Russell, we've talked about the role Carved by Air has played in the design of these cars, and Ben obviously has just shared with us what it does to the airflow. But let's talk about performance. How does it actually impact the performance?
There are a myriad of performance gains, but you really need an aerodynamicist to explain it in full detail. But in sort of simple terms, terms that I understand, it's about reducing the resistance to the air, allowing the car to move forward freely. Our aerodynamicist described it to me once. He said it's like a butterfly net going through the air rather than a parachute. And obviously by reducing the resistance, reducing drag, it allows you to go further and it allows you to go faster, which is good.
So well explained, even I understood that, Russell. I appreciate that. Now we can see them all lined up next to each other. Here is the full family of the cars. Let's just talk about the similarity between all three, because you obviously have a finer eye at pointing it out than I do.
Well, first of all, it's the perfect three-car garage, isn't it? So we encourage people to buy all three. But the similarity, repeating what my colleagues have already said, is starts with proportion. They're all cab forward. They all take that mid-engined aesthetic and apply them to SUVs and sports cars. They've all got muscular haunches that really plant the car to the road, give the car a sense of real power. There's a mixture of beautiful, soft, sculptured surfaces with crisp lines that give the car speed, and that starts at the nose of the vehicle that really looks like it's cutting through the air. And then, of course, there are all these car-by-air features, the various ducts and vents and tunnels that run through the car that draw your eye around the vehicle, and you know that they're giving you real performance gains, that it's designed for a function, form and function working together.
I love it. Russell, you seem so proud of these cars, and rightly so. We have 3 carved-by-air cars. Is that enough?
It's never enough, is it? And as Ben's explained, we have already announced there are 3 more cars to come. We as a team will be working to take carved-by-air forward into the future, interpreting it in new ways, improving performance and giving more memorable designs.
Fantastic. Russell, thank you. You can go and relax now. Wonderful. The car looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? I've never been a fan of yellow cars before, but somehow this just pops. I love it.